Close your eyes for exactly 5 seconds. Do it right now. What I'm about to tell you cannot be heard with a divided mind or a distracted heart. There is a signature on your soul, a mark that explains every single thing in your life that never seemed to make sense. It wasn't earned, and it wasn't an accident. It was placed there before you drew your very first breath. And today, for the first time, the true name of that mark is going to be revealed. You've been there, haven't you? You've been on your knees at 3 in the morning, pouring your heart out to the ceiling, only to wake up with the same heavy stone sitting in your chest. You've watched people all around you get exactly what you've been praying for. People who don't seem to pray half as much as you do. People who don't seem to be trying half as hard. You put on the brave face. You smile at the office. You send the God is good texts in the family group chat. You sit in the pew every Sunday morning. But when you're alone in the car, or when the water is running in the shower, or in those dead hours of the night, something tightens inside you that you can't even name. You've started to wonder if there's something fundamentally broken in you, something God sees that you don't. Listen to me, it's not ingratitude, it's not a lack of faith, it's not some hidden sin you forgot to confess. It is something else entirely. It's that tension between the exhaustion of waiting and the stubborn, persistent certainty that there is an answer out there, somewhere, and it's headed your way. You're still standing. That is a fact, not a feeling. Before this message is over, you are going to walk away with 3 things. First, the original Hebrew name of the mark placed on you before birth, and exactly what the mark authorizes in your life. Second, a 3-step protocol you can execute tonight, not tomorrow tonight, to activate what has been sealed inside you. And third, a declaration that will completely shift the way you put your feet on the floor tomorrow morning. Stay with me until the very end. The sequence is everything. Don't break the connection before the decree is sealed. Look away from the screen for just a second. I'm going to list 5 signs. If 3 or more of these hit home for you, then the mark is confirmed. This isn't a coincidence. It's your ID. It's the first sign. You are a magnet for people who need advice, direction, and a shoulder to cry on. You're the strong one. But when you're the one who needs a call, the phone stays silent. People say it's because you're resilient, because you can handle it. But it's not just bad luck, and it's not true loneliness. It is functional separation. Those who carry this mark don't get their fuel from the same places everyone else does. Think about how many times you were the first person someone called when their life was falling apart. How many texts have you answered at 2 a.m., giving someone a reason to keep going? How many times have your words brought clarity to someone else's confusion, or peace to their panic? And then, when it was your turn to walk through the fire, when it was you staring at the ceiling at 4 a.m., all you got was silence or some generic, everything happens for a reason platitude that didn't even touch the center of your pain. It's not that people don't care, it's that you've been positioned differently. The source that sustains you isn't horizontal, it's vertical, the second sign. You feel it when something is wrong long before anyone says a word. You're almost always right, but you rarely get the credit. People used to call you paranoid or negative. But what you have is discernment that arrives before the data. The mark activates a perception that bypasses the natural senses. You felt that pit in your stomach days before the bad news arrived. You knew a relationship was misaligned before there was any proof. And when you tried to warn people, they called you a pessimist. Then, when it all went sideways exactly like you said it would, nobody came back to tell you that you were right. This isn't anxiety. It's a spiritual sensor that has been calibrated differently. You don't see problems because you're looking for them. You see them because you are equipped to see what's hidden. The third sign. Situations that should have absolutely destroyed you left you standing in a way that even you don't fully understand. People call it luck or good genes or grit. But for those with the mark, it's structural coverage, not circumstantial. It wasn't luck that pulled you through that wreck, that illness, or that financial collapse. It was the seal. The fourth sign. You've been discarded, sidelined, or ignored by people who later had to come back to you, or who only succeeded because you cleared the path for them first. They called it taking advantage of you. But the truth is, a treasure opens the way even before it's recognized as treasure. You were the secret ingredient in rooms where they didn't even put your name on the menu. The fifth sign. There is a dream, a calling, a knowing deep inside you that will not die. No matter how much time passes, no matter how many times you've tried to bury it or be realistic, it stays. They called it nostalgia, or stubbornness, or living in the past. But what God locks into a person with this mark doesn't dissolve with time. It is the resistance of the decree. This isn't your personality. This isn't trauma masquerading as identity. It is the mark, and it has a name. I want you to pause right now and comment below. I carry the mark. You've carried this weight alone for far too long. Make this record of it. It's not for me. It's for you to see the size of the army that is waking up to their identity at the exact same time you are. Close your eyes again. Take a deep breath. This next part doesn't work if your attention is split. There is a word in the original Hebrew that has been translated so poorly that it has cost people like you years of unnecessary waiting. The version you've heard 1,000 times is the word chosen. We talk about being the chosen ones as if it's a merit-based election. Like God looked at your performance, your faithfulness, and your goodness and decided you were the MVP. The cost of that bad translation is devastating, because when you think you're chosen based on merit, you spend your whole life waiting to be good enough to finally receive the blessing. You treat the wait like a punishment disguised as humility, but the real word is segula. In Hebrew, skula. It shows up in Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. You shall be a segula to me among all peoples. In our English Bibles, they often translate it as peculiar treasure or special possession. But segula isn't just about being liked. It's about being retained. It means a treasure that is not for sale and will never go to auction. You aren't a high-performing servant that God approves of. You are an object of intense affection that God has reserved for Himself. And here is how that changes everything. Your blessings haven't arrived the same way other people's have because a segula doesn't sit in a standard checkout line. A segula is kept in a vault, and a vault has a protocol for opening. It isn't about deserving to get in. It's about the appointed time. You haven't been delayed because you aren't good enough. You've been vaulted because you are too valuable to be left out in the open. Separation has its own schedule. Think about Joseph. He had that coat of many colors. That jacket wasn't just fashion. It was a visible signal of segula. His brothers recognized it before he even understood it. The pit, the betrayal, the Egyptian prison. None of that was punishment. It was the vault being moved to the right location before it was opened. Pharaoh didn't call Joseph because Joseph was a saint. Pharaoh called him because the answer to the national crisis was locked inside the man carrying the segula. Look at the timeline. 13 years between the pit and the palace. 13 years of absolute silence. 13 years where Joe could have easily concluded that the mark was a lie, that the dream was just a teenage hallucination, and that God had ghosted him. He served in Potiphar's house with excellence and got framed for it. He served in prison with integrity and got forgotten by the guy he helped. But segula doesn't dissolve in the dark. The mark doesn't wash off in a prison cell. What God seals stays sealed until the exact nanosecond of revelation. And when the time came, it wasn't a gradual career progression. It was an explosion. In one single day, Joseph went from the dungeon to the throne. Why? Because segula timing isn't linear. It's abrupt. It's a suddenly. Imagine a raw diamond hidden inside a common rock. A geologist doesn't make a mistake when he picks it up. The person who trips over it and keeps walking is the one who's wrong. The rock doesn't lose its value just because a passerby doesn't recognize it. The value is determined by the eye that knows what it's looking at. And God is the geologist. He doesn't see the rough exterior. He's seen the diamond from the beginning. You might have been ignored at work. You might have been the black sheep of the family. You might have been forgotten in social circles where you should have been the guest of honor. But none of that changed what you are. It only changed who had access to you. And there comes a point where God stops allowing the wrong people to have access to treasures they don't know how to value. He isn't punishing you with isolation. He is protecting you from being wasted. I need to stop for a minute. I need you to hear objective facts right now, stripped of all the feel-good fluff. You got here on your own. You prayed when there was no human witness. You held on to hope when no one was backing you up. You didn't quit even when the return on investment looked like zero. Those aren't just feelings. Those are behavioral data points with massive spiritual weight. And here is the truth of who you are in the middle of all this. You aren't late. You aren't being forgotten. You are being saved. And something that is being saved isn't being abandoned. It's being guarded until the moment it's needed most. Now I need you to understand what you are. Not what you do, not what you feel, what you are. Identity number 1, the bearer. You are carrying something that doesn't belong to you to keep. It belongs to you to deliver at the appointed time. That weight you feel? It's not a personal burden. It's the weight of what has been entrusted to you. This identity authorizes you to receive without earning it, because a courier doesn't get paid for being a good person. They get paid for the delivery. You aren't waiting for approval. You're waiting for drop-off instructions. Think of Jeremiah. He got the word before he had a platform. He carried the weight of a message while being mocked, ignored, and thrown into a muddy cistern. He couldn't let it go, even when he wanted to. A bearer doesn't choose the cargo. If you feel a weight that no one else seems to feel, it's not because you're overwhelmed. It's because you were built to carry what others would buckle under. Identity number 2, the vessel. The emptiness you feel sometimes isn't the absence of God. It is the installed capacity for what is coming. An empty cup isn't a failed cup. It's a prepared cup. This identity authorizes you to wait without shame, silence without guilt. You aren't empty because you failed. You're empty because you were hollowed out for a purpose. Hannah spent years in silence. She prayed, she wept, she begged, but her womb stayed closed. Not because God was deaf, but because the son she was going to carry wasn't just another kid. He was Samuel, the prophet who would anoint kings. The vessel had to be prepared in deep, agonizing silence before it could hold that kind of weight. Hannah's emptiness wasn't rejection. It was the construction of a legacy. Identity number 3, the signal. Your journey, the visible part of your struggle, is the evidence other people need to see before they can believe in their own. You aren't going through this just for you. This identity authorizes the honor of being seen in the fire, not the humiliation of being behind. When God puts you on display in the middle of a struggle, it's not to shame you. It's so that others can look at you and realize that crossing over is actually possible. Which one of those 3 hits you hardest right now? The bearer, the vessel, or the signal? Comment that word. Claiming it out loud changes the way you wake up tomorrow. And listen, subscribe to this channel right now so the next word finds you without resistance. It's not a favor to me. It's a spiritual posture for someone who doesn't want to miss the sequence of what's being released. Now I'm going to give you a 3-step protocol to execute tonight. Not tomorrow morning, tonight. Before you go to sleep. This is the Segula protocol. First movement, recognition. Say this out loud, right now. I am Segula, God's treasure, not a candidate for approval. Say it 3 times, not a whisper. Use your actual voice. Your ears need to hear what your spirit already knows. This repetition isn't to convince God. It's to deprogram your own memory of defeat. Close your eyes while you say it. Feel the weight of the words. Segula isn't some positive affirmation. It is a biblical decree. It's not self-help. It's spiritual identity being restored. The first time you say it, it might feel weird. The second time, something will start to settle. By the third time, the truth will start to overwrite the lies you've believed for a decade. Second movement, releasing the need for permission. Identify one area of your life where you've been asking for permission to receive what is already yours by decree. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's your career. Name that area out loud. Just the name. And then say, I don't need permission. I need positioning. This is going to feel uncomfortable. You've been taught to wait for a green light, to be humble, to not be presumptuous. But there is a massive difference between humility and a beggar's mindset. Humility recognizes that everything comes from God. A beggar's mindset thinks it has to convince God to give what he already promised. A segula doesn't beg. A segula positions. Positioning is about alignment, not arrogance. Third movement, the open vault posture. When you get into bed tonight, lie on your back with your palms open, facing up. It's not just a symbolic gesture. It is the posture of someone expecting a harvest, not someone waiting for a sentence. Go to sleep like that. If your hands close during the night, don't worry about it. What matters is the posture you enter sleep with. What you plant in your heart before you drift off is what God works on while you rest. The confirmation sign won't be a shot of adrenaline or a high. It will be quietness. A stillness that doesn't come from optimism, but from a deep settling that doesn't need immediate proof. If you feel a rush, wait for the quiet. The quiet is the real deal. Highs are emotional. Stillness is structural. If you want to go deeper than what I've shared here, if you want to understand the specific blocks that are still holding back what belongs to you as a segula, check the pinned comment for the Miracle Journal. Not now. Do it after you finish the protocol tonight. The protocol opens the door. The journal shows you what's on the other side. In the next 72 hours, 3 things are going to be thrown at you. Not as a possibility, but as a certainty. Tactic 1, comparison. It will come disguised as humility. Someone around you is going to get something visible, a win, a promotion, a breakthrough. And a voice in your head will say, see, the mark isn't real. If it were, that would be you. Your weapon against this is one specific phrase. Segula timing isn't lineup timing. I don't compare a vault to a shelf. Tactic 2, the rush. It will come disguised as an opportunity. Something will demand a snap decision before the decree has time to settle in your spirit. Your weapon here is a mandatory 24-hour pause. If it's from God, it'll be there tomorrow. If it's not, it was never yours. A segula doesn't lose what belongs to them by waiting for confirmation. Tactic 3, negative memory. This one hits at night when the silence is heavy. It's the inventory of everything that hasn't happened yet. The weapon against this is replacing the inventory with identity. It's not about what hasn't come. It's about who I am while I wait. Bearer, vessel, signal. And when those 3 fail, a 4th voice will whisper, maybe the mark isn't for me. That's the most dangerous one because it uses your own voice. It knows your excuses. It knows where you usually cave. Your weapon against that voice is to go back to those 5 signs. Read them again. The mark doesn't wash off. It only gets covered by doubt. And doubt doesn't remove a decree. It only delays the execution. Lift your right hand and place it over your heart. Do it right now. This isn't a ritual. It's a physical commitment to what we're about to say out loud in these next 60 seconds. I release the identity of a candidate for approval. Say it out loud. I release it. I release the posture of a beggar asking for what is already mine. Say it. I release it. I release the comparison with those who received before me. Say it. I release it. I release the inventory of the weight as proof of abandonment. I release the fear that the mark was a mistake. Say it out loud. I release it. Now call in the three identities: bearer, vessel, signal. Say it. Bearer, vessel, signal. And now, listen to the voice of the Father. Not mine, His. I saw you at 3 in the morning, with your knees on the floor and that weight in your chest. I saw you in the car, alone, when the pressure was so high you didn't even know who to call. I saw you smile when there was no human reason to smile. And it was in those exact moments that I said, that one is my segula. That is my treasure. And a treasure is never abandoned. A treasure is guarded until the right day to be revealed. And that day is closer than you think. I didn't bring you this far to leave you at the doorstep. I brought you here to make you cross over. And you will cross over with what is yours in your hands. Those who watched you wait will watch you carry. And they will know that the God who guarded you is the God who honored you. I cover your mind with the blood. I cover your relationships with the fire. I cover your timing with the Spirit. And I cover your identity as Sigula with a Hangami